The golden block in your fridge is supposed to be simple, just cream and salt. But that trust is being weaponized. What if that natural spread is actually a chemical emulsion of grey oil and tap water, dyed yellow to fool your eyes? Manufacturers are banking on you not noticing the switch from churned cream to cheap vegetable fillers, but the ingredient lists reveal a furious reality.
When you look at it, it's 50% seed oils, it's got emulsifiers, some other shit with it. Come on, Kerry Gold, don't let me down. Stop conning people.
Here at Brit Food Watch, our investigation has uncovered the specific UK brands hiding the darkest secrets, from budget dupes that are funding controversial chemical experiments on cows, to luxury staples that have been recalled for containing factory filth. This is not just about poor quality, it is about safety. These are the 7 UK butter brands you need to leave on the shelf. Waitrose Essential. Salted butter. Shredded industrial textiles embedded directly in the fat. That is what the Essential range actually delivered to unsuspecting customers. Waitrose positions itself as the guardian of British food standards, the one supermarket where a higher price tag is supposed to guarantee absolute purity. You trust the crest. You trust the supply chain. In April 2024, the Food Standards Agency issued Emergency Recall, PRIN, 18/2024. The contaminant found inside the Waitrose Essential salted butter was not a chemical additive or a preservative. It was pieces of blue cloth. This is a catastrophic breach of basic hygiene. In food manufacturing, blue materials are used specifically because they do not occur naturally in food. They are designed to be high visibility so they can be instantly spotted and removed. For shredded pieces of blue cleaning rag or conveyor belt lining to bypass visual inspections, X-ray scanners and filtration systems, the failure is total. It implies a production line where mechanical integrity had disintegrated, and nobody noticed until the product was already in your fridge. You need to consider what blue cloth actually represents in a factory context. These materials are often used to wipe down heavy machinery, absorb industrial grease, or scrub chemical residue from the lines. When customers found those blue specks on their knife, they were potentially looking at a rag that had just wiped the grime off a churning piston, now emulsified into their morning toast. The Food Standards Agency classified the product as unsafe to eat. A damning indictment for a brand that built its entire identity on essential quality. The betrayal here is absolute. You hand over your money, believing the premium cost acts as a shield against the horrors of industrial food production. This recall proves that shield is an illusion. The same negligence that plagues budget factories is happening inside the premium supply chains, and Waitrose quality did not protect you from eating industrial waste. If they can miss a bright blue rag, what microscopic pathogens are they missing? Lurpak, spreadable, Arla. If a chemical is designed to suppress methane in industrial livestock, why is it being fed to the cows that make the UK's favourite premium spread? The product sitting in your fridge right now is fighting a war on 2 fronts. It is physically diluted with cheap oil, and its biological source is being chemically altered. First, look at the composition. This is the great deception. You pay a premium price expecting the richness of traditional Danish dairy. In reality, you are purchasing a tub that is 26% rapeseed oil. That is over a quarter of the product. This is not butter. It is an industrial hybrid. The manufacturer cuts the cream with the same cheap inflammatory seed oil used to fry fast food, selling it back to you at a luxury markup. It is a filler ingredient, masquerading as a convenience feature. But the seed oil is merely the insult. The true danger lies in the new chemical regime introduced by Arla, Lurpak's parent company. In late 2024, Arla initiated a controversial trial feeding dairy cows a chemical called 3-nitrooxypropanol, commercially known as Bovaer. This is a synthetic methane suppressant. The objective is to chemically engineer the animal's digestion to meet corporate climate targets. Critics and boycotters have already branded this climate chemical milk. The cow is no longer treated as a living animal grazing on grass. It is being used as a vessel for chemical processing. When you consume dairy from these herds, you are participating in a biological experiment that prioritizes emissions data over food purity. The long-term effects of consuming byproducts from animals fed methane-suppressing agents remain a terrifying unknown for the average family. This is the purity paradox at its most stark. The famous slogan claims, "Good food deserves Lurpak." But does your family deserve a cocktail of inflammatory vegetable oils and milk from cows fed experimental synthetic additives? The tub represents everything wrong with the modern food chain: dilution for profit and chemical interference for politics. Until Allah reverses this course, that silver tub is a container of compromised ethics and questionable safety. Tesco. Trewithen dairy butter. High levels of Escherichia coli, a pathogen confirming fecal contamination, were the specific reason this premium Cornish butter was urgently pulled from the shelves. When you buy a block of butter stamped with the words Cornish dairy and sold at the nation's largest grocer, you are buying into an image of rural hygiene and safety. You assume the supply chain is sterile, but the presence of Escherichia coli destroys that assumption. Escherichia coli is not just a random bug, it is an indicator organism. In the food industry, its presence is the definitive forensic evidence of fecal contamination. Somewhere in the journey from the farm to the Tesco fridge, this premium product came into contact with animal or human waste. The recall notice warned of high levels of the bacteria. We are talking about a pathogen capable of causing bloody diarrhea, severe dehydration, and hemolytic uremic syndrome, HUS, a condition that destroys the kidneys and can lead to permanent organ failure. This is the kind of biological roulette you expect from a roadside van, not a quality dairy product sold by a retail giant. The betrayal here is the collapse of the pure dairy myth. Consumers often fear chemical additives, yet the most immediate danger in the fridge was entirely natural and utterly grotesque. While you were worrying about seed oils or salt content, this supply chain was failing to keep fecal matter out of the churn. It proves that a premium label and a high price point are no guarantee against the most basic filthy failures of industrial hygiene. If a brand as trusted as Trewithen, retailed by a giant like Tesco, can suffer a breakdown this severe, it begs the question, how many other natural dairy products are teeming with pathogens that simply have not been caught yet? You believe you are finding a loophole, but in reality, you are stepping into a trap that funds the exact same controversial chemical experiments you were trying to avoid. Millions of British shoppers switch to Aldi's Norpak every year, convinced they are beating the system. The packaging mimics the prestigious Lurpak brand, down to the font and the silver foil, and the price point feels like a victory against inflation. The deception begins with the physical product. While the branding screams continental dairy, the tub contains a slurry of 26% rapeseed oil. Even more insulting is the presence of water as a primary bulking agent. In forensic terms, this is not butter. It is an emulsion of cheap seed oil and tap water, stabilized with milk proteins and sold to you at a markup. You are paying for weight that simply evaporates in the pan. But the financial betrayal pales in comparison to the supply chain reality. Aldi explicitly operates the Aldi Dairy Farm Partnership in conjunction with Arla Foods, the massive conglomerate behind Lurpak. This means the cash you save by buying the budget version flows into the exact same coffers. Worse, this partnership is currently at the forefront of the controversial Bovaer trials. Bovaer is a chemical feed additive designed to suppress methane in cows, effectively turning the animal's digestive system into a climate control filter. By purchasing Norpak, you are directly subsidizing the supply chain that is normalizing the use of chemical methane suppressants in the UK dairy herd. The name Norpak is nothing more than a linguistic trick, a nonsense word engineered to trigger a subconscious association with Danish quality. The reality is a double scam. You accept a chemically diluted product, thinking you are saving money, while your purchase signals demand for the very agricultural technologies many consumers are trying to avoid. There is no budget option here. There is only the illusion of choice. The label claims real butter, but the chemical reality is a greyish slurry of industrial fillers that must be dyed with carotene's E160A just to fool your eyes. They rely heavily on nostalgia, using the catchy butter the food, butter the mood slogan to evoke memories of wholesome traditional home cooking. But if you look at the forensic molecular makeup of this tub, the mood they are selling is mostly industrial fraud. This product is not butter. It is a calculated dilution. The tub contains 33% rapeseed oil and water, which means 1/3 of the product has nothing to do with a cow. In some blends, the actual butter content barely scrapes past the 50% mark. You are not buying a dairy product, you are buying a watered-down emulsion of cheap vegetable fat. The manufacturer has taken a premium ingredient, cut it with the lowest quality oil available, and charged you full price for the privilege. The deception goes deeper than just the ingredients. It is visual. Why does Anchor contain carotene's E160A? This is a coloring agent. Real, grass-fed butter is naturally yellow because of the beta-carotene the cows eat, but Anchor Spreadable is so heavily diluted with pallid water and greyish vegetable oil that the natural colour is obliterated. Without this artificial dye, the paste in that tub would look sickly and unappealing. They have to paint the grease yellow to trick your brain into recognizing it as food. The financial betrayal is just as severe. Anchor blocks are standard dairy, but this spreadable variant is a masterclass in shrinkflation and margin manipulation. You are paying a higher price per kilogram for a product that is significantly cheaper to manufacture. They sell you water and seed oil at the price of cream. Legally, this is classified as a yellow fat spread, a term that belongs in a chemistry textbook, not on a breakfast table. It is chemically closer to margarine than the block butter the brand is famous for. Stop paying for the illusion of dairy and leave this tub of dyed oil on the shelf. Country Life Spreadable. Pieces of white rubber disintegrated from the factory seals and were churned directly into the spread, leading to a recall that shattered this brand's heritage image. Country Life sells itself on a single, powerful image, the British countryside. The marketing relies entirely on the promise of local, grass-fed purity, but forensic history reveals that the factory reality can be far more synthetic. The brand was forced to issue a recall, referenced November 13, 2008, when batches of its spreadable butter were found to contain pieces of white rubber. This was not foreign debris blown in from outside, it was the machinery itself falling apart. The white rubber fragments were identified as disintegrated seals or conveyor components that had crumbled directly into the butter churn. Here is why this is more terrifying than metal contamination. Metal detectors can spot a loose screw instantly. Rubber is invisible to magnetic safety scanners. It shares a similar density to the fat itself, allowing it to pass through quality control undetected until it ends up on your knife. You are paying for British milk, but the forensic record suggests you are risking British rubber. This incident stands as a permanent mark against the brand's manufacturing integrity. It proves that even the most patriotic, established names in the dairy aisle are susceptible to catastrophic mechanical failure, where the tools used to make the food degrade into the food itself. And do not let the spreadable label distract you from the composition. This is not just a hygiene risk, it is a dilution scandal. A look at the ingredients list confirms that the spreadable tub is cut with 25% rapeseed oil. You are paying a premium for a product that is 1/4 cheap seed oil, produced in a facility with a history of feeding you its own gaskets. The label promises pristine Irish pastures, but forensic testing detected a chemical jacket of forever chemicals linked to organ failure, leaching from the very wrapper meant to protect the product. Kerrygold has built an empire on the image of the Emerald Isle, emerald grass, healthy cows, and golden wholesome dairy. You pay a significantly higher price for this supposed purity, believing you are making the safe choice for your family. That belief is a dangerous illusion. The betrayal does not begin with the churn, it begins with the packaging. Forensic testing by the consumer watchdog Mammovation detected alarming levels of organic fluorine in Kerrygold's iconic silver and gold foil wrappers. Organic fluorine is the primary marker for PFAS, the notorious forever chemicals used in everything from jet fuel foam to non-stick frying pans. They serve one purpose: to repel grease. But in food packaging, they act as a silent toxicant. Understanding the chemistry makes this terrifying. Butter is almost entirely fat. Fat is lipophilic. It loves oil and chemicals. It acts as a solvent. By wrapping a block of fatty butter in foil, treated with PFAS, Kerrygold has effectively created a chemical sponge. The fat can migrate into the wrapper's coating, and the toxins can migrate into the butter. You are not just spreading dairy on your toast, you are potentially spreading a substance that the human body cannot metabolize. Once ingested, these chemicals never leave. They accumulate in your blood and organs, building up over decades. Medical literature links PFAS exposure to suppression of the immune system, kidney cancer, and severe hormone disruption. It is a biological hazard that defies the very definition of food. While Kerrygold markets the natural diet of their cows, they wrap the final product in a chemical jacket derived from heavy industry. This is the purity paradox. You scour supermarket aisles to avoid processed vegetable oils and margarine, reaching for Kerrygold to protect your health. Yet that decision brings an insidious risk into your kitchen. It is a complete fraud to sell nature's purest butter inside a shell of synthetic poison. Until the packaging is stripped of these forever chemicals, this premium brick of gold is unfit for human consumption. Did you know your premium butter might contain industrial cleaning rags? Or that your family favorite is actually a seed oil emulsion funding chemical experiments on cows? The industry is banking on your silence. They rely on you not checking the label. Prove them wrong. Tell me in the comments below. Will you ever trust these compromised brands again? Or are you done with the deception? Hit subscribe right now. There are far darker secrets hiding in your kitchen cupboards, and here at Brit Food Watch, we are just getting started.